Best English Jokes, страница 53. I hate to tell you this. Мне очень неприятно вам это говорить. Eye socket, глазница. Just calm down, the doctor in the hospital told Jim, but it was useless. Jim's wife was giving birth to their child, and Jim was very nervous. After what seemed like a week to both Jim and the doctors, a nurse came out with the happy news. "It's a girl," she cried. "Thank God, a girl," said Jim. "At least she won't have to go through what I just went through." "I hate to have to tell you this," said the doctor in a sad voice, "but you have unfortunately been diagnosed with a highly contagious illness. We will have to quarantine you and feed you only cheese and bread." "That's terrible," said the patient, quickly sitting down. "I don't know if it won't be too hard for me to be in quarantine." "And the cheese and bread diet? What's with the cheese and bread diet anyway? I've never heard of such a diet before." "It's not exactly a diet," replied the doctor. "It's just the only food that will fit under the door." At a restaurant, a man sees a beautiful woman sitting alone at the next table. Suddenly, she sneezes and a glass eye flies out of her eye socket. It flies by the man, and he catches it from the air and gives it back to her. The woman puts her eye back in place. "I'm sorry for this," she says. "Let me buy you a dinner. May I join you?" He agrees. The woman is good to talk to, very beautiful, and the man finds he likes her a lot. He gets her phone number and asks, "You are the most charming woman I've ever seen. Are you so nice to every man you meet?" "No," she replies, "you just happened to catch my eye." Страница 54. After 30 years of marriage, a husband and wife came to a psychologist. When asked what the problem was, the wife told the psychologist about every problem they had ever had in the years they had been married. On and on and on. Emptiness, loneliness, feeling unloved. That was a very long list. Finally, after allowing this for a really long time, the psychologist got up, walked around his table, and after asking the wife to stand, he embraced and kissed her as her husband watched with raised eyebrow. The woman shut up and quietly sat down in surprise. The psychologist turned to the husband and said, "This is what your wife needs at least 3 times a week. Can you do this?" "Well, I can take her here on Mondays and Wednesdays, but on Fridays I go fishing." Mary was waiting for her first meeting with a new dentist. She noticed his diploma on the wall where his full name was written. Suddenly she remembered a tall, handsome, dark-haired boy with the same name he had been in her high school class more than 30 years ago. Could he be the same guy that she secretly loved back then? When she saw him, however, she realized that she didn't want such thoughts to be true. This fat, gray-haired, ugly man was too old to have been her classmate. After he examined her teeth, she asked him if he was a student of Morgan Park High School. "Yes, yes, I did," he said proudly. "When did you finish it?" she asked. "In 1975. "Why do you ask?" "You were in my class," she said. He looked at her closely. Then that ugly, old, fat, gray-haired man asked, What did you teach?" "Sir, you have got to help," said the man, knocking at Bob's door. "There is a family that I know very well that is in need of money. Their father has been out of a job for over a year. They have 5 kids at home with practically no food to eat. The worst part is that they're about to be thrown out of the house and they will be left on the streets." "Well," said Bob, "that really is a sad story. Why don't you come inside and we'll talk about it a little more." "So how much money is needed exactly?" asked Bob when they both sat on armchairs. "Oh, it's really terrible," said the man, starting up again. "Why, just for the rent, $3,000 is needed by tomorrow. Otherwise, they'll be thrown out onto the streets." "How do you know so much about this situation?" asked Bob. "Well," said the man, "I'm the owner of the house they rent." A dog walks into a bar and asks the barman, "Do you have any apples?" "No," replied the barman. "Try somewhere else." The dog walks out and back in. "Do you sell apples?" "I told you already I don't," answers the barman. "Get out of here." The dog walks back out and then back in again. "Stop right where you are," the barman screams. "You ask me again if I have apples, I will take a bet and beat you." The dog walks out and then back in again. "Do you sell bets?" he asks. "No," replies the bartender. "Do you sell apples?" There was a lady in her 90s who became well known in her town because she had recently got married. The town's news station decided to interview her. The interviewer asked questions like how it was to get married in her 90s. "This isn't my first husband, so it's not much different than the others," she replied with a smile. "Oh, how many husbands have you had?" the interviewer asked. "This one will be my fourth," she replied. "I was married in my 20s to a banker, then in my 40s to a circus performer. After that, I married a priest." "What does your new husband do?" "Oh, he's a funeral director." The interviewer laughed and then asked how she decided to marry these men from such different backgrounds and personalities. "It was always clear to me," she replied. "I married 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, and 4 to go." Здесь прослеживается отсылка к первым строчкам песни Элвиса Пресли «Blue Suede Shoes». 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, now go, cat, go. There was no way to say it in other words. Rosie was fat, very fat. "Martha," said Rosie to her best friend, "it was terrible what happened yesterday after the birthday party. You know how half of the birthday cake was left over? Well, I knew Bob would be laughing at me for eating it with my diet and all, but I couldn't do anything. It started with just a small piece, and before I knew it, the whole cake was gone." "Oh my," clucked Martha. "Was Bob really angry?" "He never frowned it," responded Rosie with a wide smile. "I just baked another cake and ate half of it." A police officer stopped Brian for driving too fast, and as he came up to his car, he noticed many small balls all in the passenger seat right next to him. "Sir," said the police officer, "can I ask why you have those balls in the car?" "Well, officer," said Brian, "it's quite simple. I'm a jugger in a circus, and this is what I work with." The police officer, clearly not believing him, asked him to get out of the car and juggle the balls so he can see if the story was true. Just then, an elderly couple walked by, and the old man turned to his wife. "Susie, am I glad I finally gave up drinking. Can you believe the drinking test they're given now?"